Hello, I'm very happy to welcome you at this talk about the 35 ways you can grow the profitability at your medical center by implementing automations and AI. I'm very happy to dive into this. So, the 35 avenues that you can use automations and AI in 2026. So, who is this presentation for? This presentation is for small and medium medical centers as well as private individual practices. So, even if you are just one doctor practicing by yourself, these 35 ways will be actionable and easy for you to implement in your day-to-day practice. And even if you are a medium-sized provider, there will be some interesting pieces of information for you as well. And I want to mention that we will not be focusing clinical AI here. So I will not be talking about AI medical decision aids or AI that you use in radiology or in labs. I will be talking about AI and automations that have to do with your clinic's operations, with talking to patients, marketing, generating more revenue, things like that. And additionally, I will not be talking about provider to insurance interactions. This is because this topic is different in every country. I only had experience dealing with insurance here in Italy. And this is just so highly dependent on the country that I wanted to avoid the topic of insurance because I just lack expertise in it. So who am I? I'm Angelina. I'm a backend and AI engineer, and I also have a background in healthcare. So I have a master's degree in healthcare management. I've worked at a large academic hospital. I've worked in consulting for providers and for pharma. I've worked at digital health startups. And I do consulting for small and medium healthcare providers on the topic of non-clinical AI, and I do occasional project work for them as well. And my consulting agency is called Lazy Silicon. So let's dive right in. The slides that are about automations will be marked by the white background. The slides that are about AI that are coming later on will be marked by a green background. So let's dive right in. I wanted to put this slide for the sake of smaller practices and individual practitioners mostly. So if you're not taking bookings online, why not? There are so many easy solutions to do this in 2026 that really don't break the bank. So by taking appointments online, I mean allowing patients to book, reschedule, cancel, pay for appointments online, for them to see the calendar in real time, for that calendar to be synced with your calendar. So there are so many cheap solutions that are almost free to do this. You can do this with Calendly, you can do this with Facebook bookings, you can do this on your website if you're using a website constructor like Wix. Chances are that website provider offers this feature of booking services. You can use a booking software, so special software that targets doctors. Here in Europe we have Doctolib. You can develop your own custom system. It is so cheap to write code in 2026. You can develop your own database where you take appointments, and the front end for that database can be anything because it's custom. It can be your website, it can be a messenger, it can be whatever. So there's so many solutions. So here, for instance, on the slide, on the computer, on the laptop, you see the Wix's appointment taking feature. Wix is one of the popular website constructing platforms, and they have this feature out of the box. Here on the phone, you see a messenger so that I developed for a doctor, for an aesthetic practitioner here in Italy, where you can where the AI assistant can schedule appointments partially through the messenger, which improves customer experience because we're so messenger native, we're not as website native anymore. But let's move on. So another simple thing is that you can automate patient communications. So when it comes to sending pre-appointment checklists, so make sure to come in for your lab test tomorrow on an empty stomach. This relates to sending post-appointment care guidelines. Make sure to not to stress, to change your dressing, to take this medication after your treatment, etc. This relates to appointment reminders. Don't forget to come in for an appointment tomorrow at 3 p.m. This relates to sending messages in case the patient hasn't come in for their scheduled appointment and we want to reschedule. So really simple things. Let's move on. Let's talk about other calendar automations. So something slightly more advanced. So we can invite patients to come in for repeat appointments. So if we have a patient coming in for a filler every 6 months, it's so easy to send them a message on WhatsApp inviting them to come in for filler. And this helps us avoid lost revenue in case the patient forgets to schedule. This also relates to if we have a real-time calendar management, we can, and if we have a wait list of patients, we can spot a slot opening up and inviting a patient from the wait list to schedule for that slot. Wouldn't it be nice for the medical center to notify patients when their provider is running late, especially if you live 10 minutes away from the clinic and the provider is running 40 minutes late? It would be great to get that notification on WhatsApp that, hey, you can leave home a bit later because your doctor is running late. Or better yet, we can reshuffle patients and reschedule in real time smartly with AI. This is my first AI-related slide. We can help manage objections of patients in really intelligent ways. So if we have an AI assistant that is enriched with the knowledge of our medical center, we can not only address patients' frequently asked questions, but we can also in real time, during this conversation between the AI and the patient, understand the patient's unspoken questions, understand their doubts, and having that knowledge of our clinic help address those doubts. This, of course, saves human time. We don't have to dedicate front desk personnel or call center personnel to talk to patients. We can delegate this to AI. And the aspect that I particularly love is that the AI can adapt their tone of voice to every patient. So if we have a patient in a rush, the AI's responses can be more concise. If we have an elderly patient, the AI can explain the information in terms that are different to the terms that it would have used if we had a Gen Z patient, etc. So no human front desk manager would ever be as flexible as AI can be when it comes to talking to different patient categories and different situations. Next up is we can help connect patients with the right services. So say that you have spent $200 attracting a new patient to your website, and the patient is in the market for a particular medical service, and they even went to your booking page. But imagine if you offer several variations of that service, the patient is lost, they're not quite sure which one to pick, and they leave the website for good. This happens more often than you think. For instance, take me. I'm a woman, I'm in the market for a gynecology appointment. I go to a website of this clinic and there is a gynecology appointment, there is a gynecology with a pap test, there is a gynecology with an ultrasound, there is a gynecology visit with an ultrasound and a pap test. I'm lost. I decide to leave the website for now to think about it, to gather more information, and I never go back to the website. So a simple way to remove this barrier, to remove this additional hurdle that is in between the patient and the successful appointment booking, is to help patients understand which exact service they need to book for their particular situation. So if we have an AI that has a database of all of our services that we offer with their full descriptions, with their target audience, who each appointment is for, and the AI has basic knowledge of the patient at hand through the questions that the AI asks the patient, the AI can recommend the service that ideally fits that patient and removes that barrier and increases the chance of a successful appointment booking. Let's move on. If we have the AI chatting with the patient inside this conversation, the AI can upsell and cross-sell the patient conversationally in a natural and fluid way. Of course, when we talk about cross-selling, upselling in healthcare, we mean elective procedures, we mean aesthetic healthcare. I think we're all here on the same page. And what I mean here in this case is that say that a patient has booked a service with the AI, through the AI with our clinic, and the AI, if it has a database of patients and past appointments of all of our other patients, it can say that, hey, patients that have booked this appointment that you have just booked have also booked XYZ appointments as well. This is something that Amazon offers. Clients that have purchased this have also purchased this. We can use this trick at our clinics as well, and we can do this fluidly and conversationally and naturally in this conversational format. We can use AI to help patients visualize results. So this again is more pertinent to aesthetic and elective healthcare. We can help patients try on the results of the services that you offer at your clinic to help them get invested in the results, visualize the results by having patients upload their picture and trying on the results before committing to book a particular treatment. When it comes to automations at medical centers, we have to collect a lot of consents and forms. If we have a new patient coming in, of course, we have to give them the medical history form. And sadly, if the patient is new, usually the practitioner spends 10-15 minutes of the visit filling out this documentation with the patient. Regulation these days allows for this. In most cases, we can have the patient fill out this documentation in the comfort of their home digitally, and the provider just go through the documentation very briefly with the patient in person. We can use AI to prevent patient churn. So if we have access to the database of all of our past appointments, and we can spot if a patient that usually came in for a regular appointment stopped suddenly coming into our clinic, we can spot these situations, and we can prevent that patient churning for good by crafting a personalized offer to them and making sure we keep that patient. Speaking of personalized offers, we can craft personalized offers to all of our patients. For instance, when it comes to repeat appointments, again, if we have a patient coming in for a teeth cleaning every 6 months, we can preventively invite them to come in for their teeth cleaning. But also beyond this, if we have, again, this database of past appointments, we can spot that women 35 to 45 that tend to come in for teeth cleaning also book cavities treatment for their kids. And so we can preventively ask these women, these patients that we have, that, hey, does your kid need cavity treatment? This is something very simple, but if we have the database of past appointments, we can spot these patterns and craft personalized offers based on the patterns that we spot. We can craft offers based on life events, based on seasonality. We know that psoriasis flares up in the winter, so we can invite patients to come in for their psoriasis checkup, etc. There are so many possibilities if we have that data. Next up is we can spot high lifetime value clients at the beginning. So imagine we have a new client coming into our clinic, and we have the access to our database of our other clients and their characteristics and their past appointments, and we spot that this new client shares certain characteristics with our other high lifetime value clients. So we can help to ensure that this client does become a high lifetime value patient by offering them preemptively premium services, bundles, VIP care, etc. Next up is we can bundle services smartly. Again, if we have data of past appointments, we can notice which services tend to be purchased in a bundle. This can be services that a human eye, a human analyst would never spot. This can be services for a family, so services for a man, services for women, for kids, for parents, and we can bundle these services preemptively, thus pre-generating revenue for these services and selling more. We can also analyze who tends to buy which services. So identify the characteristics of the patients that tend to purchase each particular service. This again is more for elective medicine, right? For aesthetic medicine. And if we identify the persona that tends to purchase bio-revitalization, we can target marketing campaigns for this particular service more intelligently by targeting this particular customer group. Let's talk about doctors and how we can optimize doctors' time and improve their quality of life and help them reduce the admin burden that they have on their shoulders. Imagine a case where a doctor has to complete a report or to prescribe treatment for a patient, but they are waiting urgently on a lab report or on a diagnostic report, and they refresh the electronic health record of the patient, seeing whether the report, when the report comes live, or they keep calling the lab. What if they could just subscribe to certain events and get automatic notifications when those events occur? So the doctor can select that they want to be notified when this particular report for this particular patient comes live in the electronic health record, and get a notification on their phone. This saves the doctor time and improves their quality of life at work. Additionally, what if doctors could get electronic health record summarized 10 minutes before a follow-up appointment with the particular patient, have their latest diagnostic tests, their past medical history summarized for them 10 minutes before the appointment with the most important information that they have to keep in mind? That would be, I think, so appreciated by doctors. What if we could use automation as well to run through our medical and admin documentation to ensure that the documentation is aligned with our internal but also regulatory standards, policies, and checklists, and spot the errors and gaps and suggest improvements? Now let's talk about AI. At our clinic, we have, of course, both medical and non-medical interactions happening with our patients. We have medical visits, we have front desk personnel talking to patients, we have call center, we have nurses, etc. And if you are serious about managing your clinic, chances are you have metrics and guidelines and checklists when it comes to these interactions. So for instance, you want to make sure that 60% of all the calls to the call center culminate with a successful appointment booking. You want to make sure that doctors explain side effects in 100% of visits where it applies, etc. And chances are you take a sample of calls, a sample of visits, and calculate KPIs based on these. If we have AI, we can analyze all of our interactions. We don't have to take a sample anymore. We can analyze the whole amount. The AI can listen into conversations, can be present on the website, in the chats, in medical visits, and calculate those metrics in real time. What is more, AI can perform sentiment analysis on these interactions and pinpoint that, hey, Dr. Rossi is a bit arrogant, or this front desk man is not as cordial as others, etc. So we can take this beyond quantitative metrics and analyze emotions as well. If AI has access to our patient interactions, so can follow the patient through their whole journey from stumbling upon our website to being driven to a messenger to coming back to the website. If AI has access to all of the actions that the patient takes on our website, all of the messages that it sends to the AI, etc., we can analyze the paths that tend to lead to successful bookings vis-a-vis the paths that tend to lead to the patient dropping off. and pinpoint so this particular journey statistically culminates in a successful booking, so that we can replicate this journey and have other patients follow this path. We can also identify moments where patients tend to drop off. So, for instance, this interaction with the AI in the messenger usually leads to the patient leaving the messenger for good. So we can identify weak points as well. Let's talk about operations. I love hospital operations. And this is pertinent to both medium-sized and larger providers, but we'll focus on medium-sized providers. So scheduling is a classical computer science problem. And so using computers to optimize your shifts, your rooms, your equipment is the most optimal way to schedule. So use algorithms and computers to plan the operations in your medical center. If we have algorithms, computers can also spot the resources that are being underutilized. So doctors, equipment, rooms that are being idle. And again, not AI, computer can help reorganize shifts that use your resources more optimally. This is where we can employ actual AI. Is the AI can spot missed opportunities because of your operational bottlenecks. So take this scenario, for instance. We have patients coming in to a gastroenterology visit after work from 6 to 8 p.m. and the gastroenterologist normally prescribes them to do a series of lab tests, but the lab closes at 4 p.m. and so the patient leaves and does their lab tests somewhere else and stays at that clinic. AI, if it has access to our operational data, at least these opening hours, this really basic operational information about our clinic, can spot these operational bottlenecks and these missed opportunities, something that would be so hard for a human operations manager to spot. And not all clinics have dedicated operations managers. We can collect reviews automatically. So reviews are so important for providers. On the one hand, to improve performance, of course, but on the other hand, to use those reviews to publish them on third-party platforms, on their own websites, etc. But it's so difficult to chase patients to leave a review. Well, we can collect them automatically and really effortlessly. If the patient goes home after a treatment or a procedure they have done at our clinic, we can send them a message in the messenger asking them how they're doing, if they have any questions, any side effects, etc. If they are good, we can ask them to leave a review and a vote and a note, and we can save that review. If they have any complaints and these complaints are not medical, we can ask them to elaborate and again save that feedback. We can use an AI to group the reviews from different patients, to dissect them, to analyze them, for the AI to also cross-reference these reviews with other data in our clinic. For instance, we have patients complaining about Dr. Rossi, and through our sentiment analysis of medical visits, we know that Dr. Rossi does tend to be a bit arrogant. So we can cross-reference the different sources of information to pinpoint the weak points and to develop action plans. Let's talk about managing inventory. Sadly, small and medium-sized providers think that managing inventory is something for really huge hospitals, is something unaffordable and unnecessary. And at the same time, they end up spending hours doing this every week. Well, you can develop your own simple database, your own system of managing inventory with a simple list of the medications and consumables that you use, and just subtract the quantity after every visit. This is so cheap and this is so easy, and you can even get alerts to your Telegram or WhatsApp or on a simple dashboard in your browser when you are running low on a particular medication. We have to be mindful of our competitors as well, of course. We can use automations to scrape our competitors' websites to see if their services or their prices have changed, if they launched any campaigns, any advertisement, etc. And we can then use AI to compare our standing and our offering vis-a-vis that of our competitors and see whether our standing is better or worse. We can help automation to finally help our employees break free from Excel. We didn't need AI to come about to start doing this, but I think this is a good sign to reduce the amount of reliance on Excel in hospitals. Normally, admin and operational employees at hospitals use Excel because hospitals and clinics have a lot of systems that are separate from each other and don't share data. So employees have to copy data from one system, paste it to Excel, copy it from another system, paste it to Excel, do pivot tables, and then produce reports. Newsflash, if the AI has, if it's not even AI, if a computer has access to your databases, to your sources of data, it can extract data from these databases automatically, cross-reference them, produce reports in whatever format you want, whether it's PowerPoint slides, PDFs, Excel if you want Excel. But if you have the sources of information, you can work on this data automatically. A computer can work on this data and analyze that data. You don't need a human or let alone Excel to do that. You can use computers to generate financial documentation as well. So it's not only about managerial reports, it's also the plethora of financial documentation that clinic employees have to generate, such as cost estimates for surgeries or invoices. We can use AI to generate medical reports. Of course, I hope you're practicing this in your clinic to some extent already. Instead of the doctor typing in manually the notes during the visit, we can just turn on voice note taking, and a computer records the voices of the patient and the practitioner during the natural course of the medical visit, then transcribes that voice to text, and then summarizes that text and formats it to align with the format of our of the medical reports in our medical center. Then the doctor can just take 2 minutes to take a look at the produced medical report, edit it, save it to the EHR, and thus save 10-15 minutes per every visit and improve their quality of life, especially for doctors that type with 2 fingers on the keyboard. There are still some doctors out there that do this. There are even doctors that still write with pen and paper and then transfer it to the computer. There are other reports we can generate automatically, so not only medical reports, not only financial documentation, but also other clinical little papers, such as prescriptions, such as sick leave certificates, such as referral letters for specialists where doctors have to describe the medical history, the reason why they're referring. A computer can just extract this information from the electronic health record and pre-generate that referral letter and this other documentation for the doctor to then review. Let's talk about, I think this is a concluding slide about doctor quality of life and doctor productivity. We can alleviate the burden of admin tasks from the doctors by several measures. For instance, by triaging their email inbox, separating urgent and important emails that they have to reply to in person from those that can be replied to by the AI. We can create a to-do dashboard for our doctors, for them to have a bird's-eye view on their day, to see all of their visits, their surgeries, their reminders, their secondary tasks, for them not to feel overwhelmed about their day, but for them to have the sense that they have a grasp on their day. There's so many solutions that we can implement to help our doctors feel more productive. When we talk about the patient before they come in for an appointment, we can implement chatbots and AI assistants. But when the patient comes into our clinic, they see 20 rooms. They don't know where to go. They don't know where the bathroom is, and they feel lost, and they don't have that support of the AI assistant that they did in the phase of appointment booking. Well, we can embed the same AI assistant to a physical tablet that we put in the hallway of your medical center that can help the patient navigate the clinic and ask and answer their questions related to the physical space of the clinic. We can then stay in touch with the patient after they leave our medical center, so when they are at home, so that we foster their loyalty, so that we increase the number of touch points we have with patients. And we can do this in the form of helping them recover from a surgery they did at our clinic, in the form of tracking semi-chronic events like pregnancies, or simply being on call for questions. This is something that is so easy to implement, something that is related to the note taking during appointments. This is real-time translation for international patients. So if we have an international patient coming in, they can just talk naturally to the provider, and the AI can translate back and forth in real time. This is the only slide that I put that is insurance related, because I think this is generic enough that is applicable to almost all countries. When we have to submit a pre-authorization request for to an insurance company or a claim, we have to attach a certain number of medical reports, lab reports pertaining to the condition. And wouldn't it be nice for the computer to download all the necessary documentation from the electronic health record automatically, and for us to have at least the attachments ready to go? And this is the last slide. Of course, as healthcare professionals, as doctors, we want to stay in touch with our industry, but we are overwhelmed with our day-to-day work. Well, AI can do this for us. So AI can monitor industry publications, industry trends, and alert us and to important facts and summarize them for us. We can get summaries of latest research from scientific papers. AI can scrape information about industry conferences coming up, alert us to the early bird tickets that we have to get for the conferences that deserve our attention, etc. So we can fully outsource this task to AI. This was it when it comes to the ideas of implementing AI and automation at your medical center. But I want to conclude by saying that none of this works unless you have good data sources. So unless you have databases for your financial, medical, operational, marketing data, for your patient interactions from all your different channels, because automations and AI have to act on these data, right? And an ideal scenario would be if all of these data sources were cross-linked, and so that they had relationships and references to one another. So if you want to set an ambitious IT related goal for your center for this year, I think it would be making sure you have good, clean databases for all of these areas of information, and that these databases are cross-linked, because if they are cross-linked, you can derive insights that are so much richer and more useful and more difficult for humans to spot if your data sources are cross-linked. So if you want to talk about the situation and the strategies and the opportunities for your particular medical center, you can book an AI strategy session with me. It's online. It lasts an hour to an hour and a half, where we can deep dive into your particular case, your particular systems that you use, and explore any of these use cases that I have presented here or any other. You can book one on lazysilicon.com. It's the website of my consulting practice. If you aren't already, I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Angelina Chigrinets. I post I publish posts on AI for small and medium healthcare providers there. So I will be very happy to connect with you on LinkedIn and see you at my strategy session. So that was it. Thank you so much and have a great day.